Hello, my dear students. This is our second class and it's about data and big data. But first of all, we are going to understand what a database is and how it is built, and of course, how to manage it in order to get information from it and make decisions after having analyzed the information. We are going to use a simple database, but also I am going to explain what a simple database is and what a more complex database is. Getting to know how a database is developed or designed or programmed to understand in an example or through an example how lookup tables and fact tables are related to each other. Then we are going to see a bigger database with a lot of lookup tables and a lot of fact tables, just to get to know them. We are not going to learn how to develop them. We are going to learn it later on in another class in order for us to understand how to develop a database from scratch and to manage it to get information. Our class today is also about big data and data warehouse, and the videos you have in the virtual classroom explain to you in a simple way what are big data warehouses or data warehouses, and of course what is the meaning of each of them and how to manage each of them. We are getting information about that kind of databases and big data, and we are going to start by doing some exercises to get familiarized with those techniques to first of all understand a database and get information from it. So let's start. The simplest way to manage a database is to do it in a worksheet in Excel, for example, but there are many other programs like Google Sheets and also Open Office and many others. The fact is that a simple database is composed by columns and rows, one table, and that table has all the information we need. This is a table about selling and leasing real estate, and that real estate is divided in types: parkings, stores, office, terrains, warehouses, apartments. And there are many sellers, Carmen, Pedro, Joaquin, Jesus, that make business with those type of real estates. And there are two kinds of operations: leasing and selling those real estates in some cities. Those real estates have a surface in square meters and a price, either to sell or to rent or lease that real estate. Okay, so this is a simple database, which is kind of a fact table without any lookup table to feed it. Now we are going to see another database in which we have many tables. These are the tables. We are going to see the database which has a lot of tables is called real database, which doesn't mean that a database in Excel is not a database. But a database is composed by many lookup tables, like for example these are lookup tables, and one or more fact tables. Remember that lookup tables are used to code in a unique way, or single items, like for example organizational areas, branches of that organization, some factors we are going to use in other tables. And we have fact tables that receive information from those lookup tables. For example, in this case, we receive information from different areas, or I mean the fact table receives information from different lookup tables. For example, receives many times information from organizational areas, and many times receives information from branches of that company. But as you can see, there are not only one there is not only one fact table and two or three or more lookup tables, but fact tables may become themselves lookup tables for other tables. Don't worry if you don't understand it perfectly by now. I'm going to explain it for you to get informed, but thereafter we are going to do an exercise in which we are going to create a database, a simple database, and we are going to create a more complex database like this one, starting by one database with some lookup tables and one fact table, and then growing the database to have more fact tables related between themselves and related to other lookup tables like these ones. Okay, as a matter of fact, here we have one table which is both a lookup table for this table and receives information from another lookup table, which makes this lookup table a fact table also. Okay, so these lines are the relationship existent between these tables, right? And it means one may repeat many times in this table. One organizational area may repeat many times in the climate evaluation table. Okay, so the fact now is I want you to understand that a database which is a little bit bigger than just a simple table like in Excel may become very complex, and as it is more and more and more complex, it is going to become big data. So therefore, the fact is that we are going to understand from the very beginning of a simple table and how to manage it, and then migrate to bigger databases, not only to understand them but also to create them. That is one of our aims, to know how to create a database and then extract information from that database. But first of all, we have to create it and then feed it with the information we need, and then extract information to do the investigation and to have enough information and convert that information in knowledge, and that knowledge to make decisions. Okay, now I'm going to show you another database bigger. This is SQL. You're going to hear SQL everywhere. SQL means SQL, right? Means structured query language. which means that this is a language to make structured queries or searches of the database. But it is also a language that allows us to relate tables, to make lookup tables and fact tables, and to have a lot of extraction of information from those tables. I'm going to give you an example. Here I have a very big database. As you can see, there are many tables, many tables, and that is what we may call a big data database. But this is just the database. As you can see in the videos we are studying for the second class, a database is different from a data warehouse in which we store information of past periods of the database. For example, you store the information of 1 year, then the next year, then the next year in the data warehouse or the data warehouse. I'm sorry, I always change the pronunciation because I learned English in another country, not in the States. So sometimes I pronounce as I learned in that country. So the fact is that the database stores the information that we are using right now to do the transactions or the following of the information for this year, for example. And then at the end of the year, some companies, because they manage huge quantities of information, for example, a bank, or for example, a factory, or for example, a university, they manage big data, which means that you don't have to have it available forever, but you store the information of this year in a data warehouse and empty the data or the database to start it again for the next year. So the difference between a database and a data warehouse is that the database is for information that you use constantly during a period, for example 1 year, and the data warehouse is the one that receives all the information from that database each year. But also, as you can see, they call it a lake of information or a lake database. You can store together with the databases of each year. You can store videos, you can store emails, you can store readings, you can store photographs, and so on. Okay, so that is the difference between a data warehouse, and a lake or data lake. Okay, as you are going to see in the videos. Anyway, this is the one of the most used languages and softwares to develop databases and also data warehouses, but there are many others, not only this one, and this is one of the most used but not the main one or the best one. Well, there are many languages to do that. For example, this is what they call MySQL, but Microsoft, for example, developed the SQL itself, and there are many others that allow us to extract information or to build a database and then extract information. I'm going to give you an example. I have in this database many coding. If I write code, I'm going to find many coding tables. Coding. These are called the lookup tables. Remember, coding tables. Code. And here I have more coding tables, right? Coding tables. But I have also fact tables, like for example the tables of users. This is a database about users, and the users have a lot of information. As you can see, a user may have an ID, which identifies the user in a unique way, an ID, a national ID, which we call cédula, right? And many other pieces of information. As you can see, many other pieces of information. Some of them have that information, some of them do not have that information, because a database may store or not store information as needed. Okay, so as you can see, this is a big database in which we store a lot of information for everyone who has access to that database to get that information and to analyze it. For example, I'm going to ask that information, tell me about my name. I am in that database, so I can write my name, Sánchez Barrero Juan Manuel, right? So I'm telling with that language, select all the information from the table, the fact table de usuarios pregrado, where the name of the user, nom usupre, I can give a name to any field as I want, is like Sánchez Barrero Juan Manuel. Let's see, when I apply that order, the fact table shows me the information of the user Sánchez Barrero Juan Manuel with all the information that he has to have according to the conditions of the database. So I have many pieces of information that are null, or many pieces of information that are answered because of the conditions the database has for each user. Okay? Okay, now there are many other tables. I'm going to show you, for example, one table that receives every evaluation of each of the users of the database. I mean the people that are stored in the database. So here we are going to have another table in which this is a fact table in which we store all the information about the evaluation or assessment of each of the people that has to be assessed. For example, the performance assessment may be stored in one of these tables, and it shows me some IDs. For example, this ID, which is the ID of this table, this ID, which is the ID of the specialization, this ID, which is the ID of the division of that specialization, and this ID, which is the ID of a subject, and this ID, which is the ID of a teacher, and this ID, and so on. So as you can see, this table is fed by different lookup tables. Okay, those information or those ID come from different lookup tables, and this fact table stores the information of those IDs, a date in which the person was assessed or evaluated, and the qualifications the person got according to the evaluation done. Okay, from that table I can extract information, as for example, get the information of a teacher that has been evaluated and decide if the teacher will have to go to a course, or will receive a prize, or has to do something that makes better his or her classes, and so on. The fact is that this is a fact table that comes and is fed by different lookup tables, and there are many tables in this database. Now we can call this quite a big database. So there are many bigger databases, like for example a bank database is huge because it stores information from thousands of users, and they make a lot of transactions a day. We're talking about thousands of megabytes by the minute. Okay, so coming back to Excel database, which is the basic database we are going to start studying, we have just one table and we are going to extract information. So the fact is that to do or to design this database is easy. If you have a store, a company that sells or that leases real estate, well, you're going to write down in one row, this is one row, one business, another row, another business, another row, another business. Okay, either a lease or a sale. So let's start by some examples. I'm going to do 3 examples. The first one is I'm going to ask that database, how many of each real estate have we negotiated? Okay, now you may know a little bit of Excel and you may not know anything about Excel. Don't worry. The fact is that I want you to do some exercises to get familiarized, right, with how to manage a database, how to extract information. We are going to learn it in Excel, then we are going to do it in other programs, and then of course we are going to study it in Tableau, which is one software that manages big databases, and we are going to get together many tables and get information from many sources, as you have found in the videos you have studied for the second class. Well, in the first class we also talked about that, getting information from different sources. Okay, now let's start with this simple database. I'm going to ask the first question, how many of each real estate have we negotiated? Okay, first of all, I click on or inside the database any place, any row, any column, without highlighting anything, just clicking inside the database. Then I go to the menu, insert. If you have it in English or in Spanish, insertar in Spanish, insert in English, tabla dinámica or pivot table. This tabla dinámica, I'm going to tell that we are going to extract information from one table or range. Okay, one table, click. So Excel understands, and many other programs understand, that we are referring to one table which has no empty columns. An empty column may not have information, but must have a title. If there is a blank column, the program, either Excel or any other, is going to understand that the database goes up to the last column with a name or with a title. Like for example this one, the I column is empty, it has no title, so Excel understands that this is the last column. Also, if we go to the end of this database, which is a little one, it goes just to 3,000 rows, 3,338 rows, which is a little database. It goes down to the last row that has information. It doesn't go down after that last row. Okay, so it recognizes the database from the cell A1 to the cell H 3338. Okay, and it marks it or highlights with the line, moving line, we can say. So we accept, and Excel creates another page, which we are going to call, well, we can call it whatever we want, and we are going to call example 1. Okay, now here we have the names of the columns, and that name corresponds or is exactly the same than the names of the columns. So what was the question? Let's go to sales and rents. How many of each real estate have we negotiated? So we are going to go to the type, which are the real estate types, and Excel and any other program brings all the names of the real estate we are negotiating. Okay, and we are going to count how many. So we get again type, and we get it to values, and as it is a text, Excel understands that we are going to count it. We cannot add up, we cannot divide, we cannot average any text. So Excel, the only option Excel has is to count it. So it counts it automatically. Apartments, 491. Houses, 454, and so on, up to 3,337, which means that we have negotiated, or we have dealt 3,337 real estates divided into these quantities. Okay, that is one example. Let's see the other example. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete other examples I had done before. Okay, just for you to see the examples we are doing. Now, the second one is how many of each real estate, the second one is how many of each real estate have we sold. Let me see if we have how many of each real estate, no. Okay, have we sold? I write sold in uppercase in order for you to understand that we have two kinds of operations, lease and sale. If I ask for sale or sold, is only this, so only sales. So I'm going to start again. Click in any cell of the database, click in insert pivot table or tabla dinámica, from a tabla or range, from a table or range, accept, and the question is how much of each, I'm going to again, how many of each real estate have we sold? How many? So this is example 2, and how many of each real estate have we sold? Okay, so I am asking only for those sold, not for the leased or rented. Okay, so anyway, I have to get the type and I have to get the operation. As you can see, apartment, lease and sale. Okay, houses, lease and sale, office, lease and sale, and so on. But I want to count operation, and it shows me the operation for lease and sale for each kind of, or for each type of real estate. But I'm going to filter the information in order for Excel to show me only the sales. Okay, so I can get the operation again to filter. For example, this is one way, there are many ways. to filter, okay, and I'm going to find that Excel put a filter on the first line, and I get the filter, select various elements, click on all of them, and I want just to click on sale or sales in order for Excel to show me sales, just sales. So sales are 1,690 sales. Okay? If I filter the other way, so instead of sales I say lease, there are the rest. Okay? I mean, the total is the rest to get to 3,338. Okay? I'm going to leave it in sales. This is just sales. So I filter the information. I'm going to do a third example. How much has have we earned on leasings? Okay, let me see. How many operations? How many selling cities? Sellers list on leasing. Okay, have we? This is a question. Let's see. And so on sellings. Okay. Okay. So this is the third example. I want to calculate how much money we have earned on sellings. Okay, so sellings are just sales. So I'm going to insert dynamic table or pivot table. Okay, and I want to get the operation, just operation, list and sales, and the price, which is the column of money. And Excel understands that as it is a number, we may want to add it up. So it suggests you want to add it up. Okay. So this is list, this is the answer, and sales, this is the answer. I can highlight those numbers, go to start, and convert it into money without decimals. Okay. Now, this is the answer, but I'm going to filter, right? I can filter here, or either I can filter it here. As you can see, we have a filter here, so sales, that's it, and we have sold 2,045,100,000. Therefore, this is the example 3. And I'm going to ask you to answer all these questions, okay? And that is your assignment for this week. But also you're going to have, first of all, you have to watch the videos, understand the videos, understand this explanation I am giving you, and doing your exercises, and therefore after that on Monday you may have a quiz in the virtual classroom in order for you to answer some theoretical questions. Okay, therefore if you have any question, remember that you can write to me by WhatsApp and I will answer as soon as possible. Don't write questions by email. Remember, the email it is used just to if you have some problems, either personal or from family problems, or if you have problems to go or to keep doing your homeworks and so on. Those problems are managed by the university first and then by me. But if you have questions about what to do in your assignments or your study, I write to me by the WhatsApp and I will answer as soon as possible. Okay? Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you enjoy doing this assignment. Do it calmly. Don't worry about being in a hurry because you have from 7 a.m. On Wednesday to 11 p.m. on Monday. So you have many days to do it calmly without any hurry. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you have understood everything. Remember, you are going to have a quiz on Monday also, in addition to this assignment. Okay? Thank you very much.